Welcome to my fall reads video. These are books that I think will be good for the fall season or autumn, whichever you prefer to call it. Most of these are books I actually have read during the fall or books that I think would be good for it. But let's go through them one at a time. And the first one we're going to be starting with is Dracula. So Dracula, obviously, is a gothic horror by Bram Stoker. It's about Jonathan Harker, who goes to Transylvania because a count is looking to buy a house in London. And you got Mina, his fiancée, who is in England. This is an epistolary novel, which means it is written in diary entries and letters. I am doing a buddy read with Elion with this one. So Ellie and I are reading this together. So far, it's a little bit boring at the beginning, but I am excited to see what happens next because I remember liking it a long time ago. This is my old Borders copy. It was actually a birthday gift one year to me from a friend from high school. So that's the first one I recommend for spooky season. And the second one is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. I'm sure most of you have heard of this one. And this one is about Audrey Rose Wadsworth and Thomas Cresswell as they try to find out who is the Ripper, Jack the Ripper. And it's a really good book in terms of historical fiction mixed with a bit of the paranormal, the supernatural in this series. But I feel like Audrey Rose is a great character because she is, she's a strong character. I think she's really interesting. I feel like she's a nuanced character. But this is also one of my favorite covers. I do love this series. I find it really entertaining. The next book I have is The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein. And you're going to forgive me because this book doesn't have a dust jacket. This book doesn't have a dust jacket because I actually got it at a library sale. It didn't have a dust jacket at the time, but because I wanted to own a copy of it, I wasn't going to complain. It's still one of my books that I enjoyed. I think I gave this one 3 stars. I thought it was a good fall read, and I thought it was a great take on Frankenstein and on how we get the story of Frankenstein that was originally written by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. And Kirsten White happens to be one of my favorite authors, and I absolutely adore the retellings that she does. So if you're looking for kind of like a little interesting, spooky retelling read, this would be a perfect book for those purposes. Again, it's The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein, and I'm sure you've heard other people talking about it, but this is definitely a great book. The next book I'm talking about is Chime by Franny Billingsley. This is one with a witch in it, Bryony Larkin. She lives by a marsh, and it's kind of like this really atmospheric book. So if you like atmospheric books, think like Shay Earnshaw, Winterwood, or The Wicked Deep. That's sort of what this one is like. And essentially, she can see the old ones, the spirits who haunt the marshes surrounding the town. And then, then Eldrick comes along with his golden lion eyes and a great mane of tawny hair. He is natural as the sun, and he treats her as though she is extraordinary. And everything starts to change. So it's really kind of like a bit of romance in it. And honestly, this book was just a really good atmospheric book for the fall. And the next book I'm going to talk about. And the next book I'm going to talk about is Pumpkinheads by Faith Erin Hicks and written by Rainbow Rowell. This book is just a really cute graphic novel. It's a story about these two friends who work this fair or carnival. It's like a festival pumpkin patch, but it doesn't really look like a pumpkin patch because it's like this massive like thing with lots of vents on it. But this book is really cute because these two friends, they meet up together and they work at this pumpkin patch every year. And every year they always work. They never get to do any of the things there. And this book is just kind of about them all just getting to witness and experience all of the things that occur. From the different pumpkin patch events to some of the crazy stuff, plus the illustrations are just, they're really beautiful. It's a really gorgeous book. This is one of those great, really autumnal reading books. It just feels very autumn-like. And then my next one is Serpent and Dove. This one is obviously by Shelby Mahern. And yes, you may notice it does have gold edges. I spray painted them myself. It did not go super well. But anyways, you got Louise LeBlanc, and she lives in the city of Césarine. She is a witch, but witches are not good, supposedly, according to the world. And Reed Diggory is a witch hunter. And they end up getting married to each other. And most people probably know what the story is about by now at this point, so I'm not going to recap much more than that, other than I think this is a great fall read. And the next one is The Beautiful by Renee Audier. I really love this book. I read it last year, was absolutely entranced and enthralled by the beautiful writing, and I was lucky enough in November to be able to go to Y'all Fest, and she signed it for me. She was such a sweet person. I really loved meeting her. But The Beautiful is kind of like this hauntingly atmospheric, beautifully written story of Celine Rousseau in New Orleans. And they live at the kind of like this convent, and she runs into Sebastian, and thereupon the story unfolds of murder and mayhem. There are not as many vampires in this book as you would think. I know it was advertised as a vampire book, but there are really not that many in it. But the world is still expanding. There are 2 books already out with The Beautiful and the Damned. I think the 3rd one is coming out in 2021. And there might be a 4th, but I'm not positive. But cannot recommend this series enough. It is so amazing. And last but not least is The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. This is my first book I read by her, and this was actually my second Owl Crate book. I really liked the story. I especially liked the bone goat. I don't normally like zombies or undead stories, but I really did enjoy this one. I think there's something to be said for a story that's so encompassing of being spooky but fantasy, but still holding on to great characters and having an amazing plot. This book was just really great. I really enjoyed it. It's really spooky, it's eerie, and it's a fun adventure. Fantasy. Please read it. Please read it. It is amazing. So those are the major fall reads or autumn reads that I think are perfect for the autumn months. I know we're in October, and I know most of you already have your TBR set up. However, I think if you get the chance, you should definitely read some of these. I think they're really worth it. But tell me what you think of fall reads or autumn reads. What do you like to read during these months? Let me know in the comments if you liked my picks, if you think I should try some other books for the fall. I'm about to start doing my November TBR here shortly. So let me know what you think and give me some advice. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Thanks as always, guys, and I will see you again in my next video.